now.
Oh man,
We
it's
live, ready to go.
always a great time to hang out here on Tuesday night with the Sports Shop, and we are in our, if you will, we in our what, our 16th episode of the Sports Shop drop in. 16 weeks, man, and it gets better and better each time we do this. Of course, we have a legend on with us as we stack him up like we can. A young man that matriculated, you know, uh, at the Manta Catholic High School, and he was a high school All-American, by the way. Played for the late great Morgan Wooten, and we're gonna hear more about that. Matriculated to NC State, where at that time Norm Sloan was the head coach, and later playing for the great Jimmy Valvano. And while he was there, he won a national championship. Now, how he won the national championship has been debatable in many places throughout the world. Whether or not that shot was a pass or was it a shot, but we're gonna get into all that in a second, though. But man, since that point, he's worked in several places, doing great things, coaching kids and being great leaders for kids in the coaching ranks, as well as executive producer for a couple major projects. One, 30 for 30 documentary, Survive and Advance, where he was executive producer and won a Emmy Award for that effort. And another project where he was executive producer on definitely was Gospel According to Mac, which is regarding Colorado football Bill McCarthy. And by the way, he's in the Hall of Fame, in the Hall of Fame for his great work as a head coach in there. Now he's social AD for North Carolina State University. Our friend on the show, great guy, great friend. We happen to have Woodpecker himself, Dereck Whittenburg. What's up, Whit? How you doing, brother?
Oh, well, thank you guys. Sports Shop, I love what you guys do. And more importantly, I love what kind of people you are and what you do in the community. And that's what excites me, being associated with you guys. So have a lot of fun, but we just want to give back and make an impact in our communities and help people and help kids. That's what it's all about.
And I tell you, I'll be remiss if I don't mention, of course, I'm Earl Reese, and we got the usual suspect. Jasmine's not here this time. She may join us later, but we got, of course, K-Mac, Rockin', and Chucky Brown, who's on with us on the drop-in each and every week. So, man, we just excited. But let me ask you a question. Do you walk around or carry that Emmy around in your car? Is what I want to know.
No, I'm gonna tell you what happened
Oh boy,
yesterday.
I tell you that.
Yesterday, I was giving a motivational speech to the North Carolina Board of Elections, and when they introduced me, sometimes when people talk about you win an Emmy Award, nobody's ever seen an Emmy Award. So I
Right.
brought the Emmy Award onto the Zoom call, and I showed it to the audience, and they were just stunned because nobody's ever seen one. And fast forward, I went on campus to take a little video, and I met about 5 or 6 freshmen on the NC State campus, and they saw it and they said, "We want to see this Emmy Award." They were by the Jimmy V statue, so they made me take it out of the car, and each one of them took a picture of it and put it on Instagram. So, to your answer to your question, yes, it's still in my car right now. Okay, it's in my car. I don't carry it around, but it's
See,
still in my
Hey,
car.
Mac, see
exactly.
that?
Trust me, it's in the car. It's in the car.
But there, we really want to just, I mean, it's open-ended. We just want to have fun. And our drop-in kind of format is like, we just try to go in, man, talk about conversations. But let's talk about uh, your decision to come to NC State. You guys, you and Sidney Lowe, another gentleman who played there with you, you guys decided to come down here to Raleigh. What was part of that decision to come here?
Well, it was two. It was a lot of really good factors for me. Number one, a lot of people don't know that David Thompson's my cousin, and watching David in the '70s and watching his career and what he's done at NC State, really, I had my sights set to NC State being one of my top schools. Number two, on Saturday mornings, Jefferson Pilot, ACC basketball. That was the only thing on TV. So you used to get up on Saturday mornings and watch ACC basketball. And then number three, I just think that with my teammate Sidney Lowe, who I played with at DeMatha, and we won a national championship at DeMatha and went 28-0 in my sophomore year. And then by him deciding to go, I just wanted to play with him. He was a tremendous player. We played together for 3 years. I said, why not play again with each other for 4 more years? So that's basically how I came to my conclusion to come to NC State, and one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Found my wife there. I got a hole-in-one on the golf course there. I'm the first generation graduate.
Who witnessed that hole in
A
one?
lot of people
I need a
witnessed
witness.
that hole-in-one, and it wasn't a fluke. It was on Lonnie Poole Golf Course on NC State's campus, and a lot of things that people don't know that was special to me on that campus. I one of the first athletes to give the commencement speech to computer science in 2016 in Reynolds Coliseum. And I got a chance to visit 2 sitting presidents, Ronald Reagan in 1983, and then also the first African-American president, Barack Obama in 2016. So a lot of great experiences there, and glad I went there. And if it weren't for NC State and the relationships with my teammates, friends, and alums, I wouldn't have the opportunity to experiences I had.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot about beating Chucky 1-on-1. Yeah, Chucky Brown.
You
beating him
you beat
I
you
coached
beat Chucky Brown 1-on-1?
Yeah, I coached Chucky Brown. I coached Chris Corciani. I coached Nate McMillan, and none of those guys beat me 1-on-1. So that's another one of my claims to fame.
But Chucky, you can confirm that or deny that? Which one?
Let me just say this. There is more to the story than just that. All right. Now, he did win the game, right?
Right.
But I'll say this, right? I could not get my rematch, right? I could not call any fouls. He got to call all the fouls. You know what I'm saying? So I'm 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? Here's the bully on the block. I touch him. It's a foul. I get mugged. I got scratches. I got bruises on my arm. No foul. And Witter say, "Are you bleeding?" Well, it ain't no foul. You know what I'm saying? So that's my foul.
Oh wow! So
we're
gonna open
up. Jackie. Some of that's true.
Eric doesn't seem like the kind of a guy that would cheat anybody. He just doesn't seem like that kind of a guy. He just doesn't seem like that kind of a guy to take advantage of you. He just doesn't seem like that to me.
Thank you.
You know what? Hey, you know what? I wanted to ask you, man. I wanted to get a sense from you. You talk about the historic run you guys had, how great it was. Talk to me about what it was like before you got to be the Cardiac Pack, before you got to be, the team of destiny and all those things. Talk about the journey before you got to that point, because everybody likes to see that part and think about, oh, they were just so great or so lucky. But talk about that journey leading up to that.
Well, it was going to really North Carolina had won the championship in 1982, and Valvano had been, since he arrived my sophomore year in '80. We talked about winning the national championship. In the first year, we obviously didn't do so well. Had a kind of a mediocre season. The next year, my junior year, we went to the tournament and lost to Chattanooga in the first round. And so it's our senior year. And we got to do something because Carolina had won it in '82. And so it was our last year was critical. And we got off to a really good start and into that senior season and played Virginia on national TV, had never beaten Ralph and was up 14 points. I had 27 at half and I hurt my foot. And they told me that I wouldn't play again. And Ralph ended up, Virginia came back and we lost to Virginia. And so it looked like that our season was really not going in the right direction. And then the team held on and took a little dip, but then they came back, and then I came back. And I think the start of our run was the Wake Forest game at home, where we scored 130 points in
Wow.
our senior game. And that was the game nobody talks about, but that was the game that really kicked off our run. And when we beat Wake Forest, then played Wake Forest again, and really that was the game. That was 10 games straight, starting with that Wake Forest Senior Day game at home. That we really took off. That's the game that gave us a lot of confidence.
Mm. Wow. So it's interesting you said that. I just thought about this. I remember being in Birmingham, Alabama, watching the news, and they was talking about. They showed you when you hurt your feet and your foot, and then they had talked to Coach V about it. He gave some type of I don't know. It was some kind of inspirational comment about, well, he'll be back. Sometimes you're down, but you got to get back up and go for it. And I remember, I just thought about that when you mentioned that, when you got hurt, and of course you guys came back and won the national championship. Now, when you guys on that run, every game down the stretch was so close to the NCAA tournament. Like you win about 1 or 2 points. It came down to. I remember, I think you guys played Pepperdine or in Pepperdine, or you guys. I mean, it was just so many, real close games. At what point did you feel like, you know what, we are a team of destiny?
Well, and we had so many guys that contributed. And the statement that Valvano made during that time is that I was going to come back like Willis Reed did in the 7th game
Mm,
to help the Knicks
mm.
win the championship. So that's
Okay.
that Valvano said back then,
Yeah.
and I believed him, and I had come back before. See, I had the same injury at school that I came back, and nobody knew that. It was just the opposite foot, so I knew it was a possibility of coming back. And as we continued to win, and I think we beat North Carolina in overtime in the ACC tournament, and then we came back and beat Virginia in the championship game. I think that was the game we were just like numb. We thought that okay, um, we beat Virginia, won the ACC tournament, played in the best league in the country, played against nobody better than Ralph Sampson, Michael Jordan, and that crew. We didn't think there's nobody that could beat us. So we just had this aura and this attitude and this confidence about it that we was going to find a way to win. And so it started off with Pepperdine. And I mean, even when the overtime games, and a lot of people know Sidney fouled out of the game, and we won the game in overtime, and George McClain came in and did a great job, and Ernie Myers came in and made a nice stretch. Cozell made one basket. Cozell McQueen made one, okay, and probably one of the most important baskets in the whole tournament, and to get us into overtime. And we was fortunate there. Then we played against a great UNLV team with Sidney Green and won that at the buzzer. Thurl knocks down the shot to win that at the buzzer.
Yeah.
Our easiest game contest was because Utah had upset UCLA and Rod Foster and that team, and Utah upset them, and we handled Utah pretty. That wasn't a close contest there, and then we end up seeing Ralph Sampson again, which we didn't want to see again, and that was a close game, and Valvano did something that no coach has not done today: foul with a tie score to put somebody on the line so we can get the ball back. I think that was unbelievable. He hit. It was a tie score. He fouled Othell Wilson, and he was betting on Othell Wilson to miss those free throws, and he did miss one. And then they came down, and I drove to the basket, and I passed it to Lorenzo Charles. He got fouled, and he hit both the free throws, so he's up one and went to the Final Four. Let me tell you a story about the Final Four. So we beat Ralph in the Western Regionals Finals. 90% of the reporters didn't go to the Final Four because they thought this was going to be Ralph's time. And so when Ralph left and they went back home. Most of the reporters went back home as well from the East Coast. And
Wow.
and when we got to the Final Four, and then once we got to the Final Four, I mean, it's real now. And we thought we were going to face North Carolina because North Carolina played Georgia. Georgia upset North Carolina, and so we ended up playing Georgia. And that was a relatively close game, but we kind of pulled away a little bit at the end. And we all sat in the room and watched Houston play Louisville in that dunk fest they had. That wasn't a basketball game. That's like a dunking contest. And watching that. And but it came down that we didn't fear anybody. But playing in the ACC and playing against, I guess, 6 or 7 times the number one in the team in the country, flip-flop during the year between North Carolina and Virginia. So we didn't really fear anybody. Now, Lawazuan it was a guy that you got to pay attention to because he was a monster. Now, he blocks shots, rebound. So you don't want to go in the basket too much, mess around with Olajuwon because he's going to be he's an intimidating factor. And we had a game plan, and we just hung in the game. We got the lead early, and we hung in the game, and we was up 8 at halftime and looking pretty good. And all of a sudden, Houston comes back, and Houston slows the ball down, and we kind of catch up and get back in the game. And like Valvano always said, just I'll put you in position to win. You guys got to go win the game. And on that last play, that last pass, actually it was 44 seconds left. And we were designing the 5 play. I remember exactly the 5 play where Thurl Bailey comes off the double and I come back on the right side. It's going to be a one-on-one for me on the right side. But what happened is they came out in a 1-3-1 trap.
Yep.
And we wasn't really prepared for that. So we were passing the ball around, but we know one thing. When the clock goes down, we got to get a shot up. And that's what we had in our minds. That's time and score. That's what we had in our minds. You got to get a shot up. And that's what we did. And Lorenzo Charles knocked one down for us. It was a great pass.
Okay, we got. I believe you, brother. Go ahead, Chucky.
Hey, we know that wasn't a pass because we know how much you like to shoot. But when you bringing up that 5 play, that was my play when I played. That's what V used to call it. This was Thurl's play. So that was my play. But I remember being in high school. And because I had just moved down here at the time from New York, so I just moved down here. My high school coach was friends with V, so I was at the Virginia game. I was at the when you got hurt. I was at the Michigan State game when NC State played Michigan State. I was at that game too. I was also at the SMU game when y'all played SMU. So I had been coming up to NC State, visiting, a lot. But to watch that game and to see, because I met Coach V being from Queens, and I'm just moving down here. That's kind of where I gravitated to, NC State, and just being around and like hearing the things. Like he would take me in this room and talk to me, and just like he always like tried to. I could tell he tried to put in the right position. Even when I was in high school, the way he used to talk to me, like he told me, like, if you work hard and do the right thing, you could be right here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you talking about V, and it brings back so many memories for me and my time with him. And I think that's like, I know me and you joke around a lot all the time, but also I think that the fact that we both played for Valvano. I think we have a certain type of bond. Like I can call you for advice, and you've pretty much always told me, the right. Like when I got into the high school coaching thing, you know what I'm saying? I went to Whit like, yo, what you think? He was like, well, he gave me the positive and the negatives. He's like, yo, look, you're gonna enjoy it. He tell me this. Anybody tell you that this, you're gonna have to watch out for this. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that special bond, I don't think nobody can understand because we play for the same coach. And I think that NC State has sort of suffered because, where Carolina and Duke, they prospered because they've had the same guy there for 30 years or what have you.
Yeah.
NC State, we've gone through about six different 5 or 6 different coaches, and it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad that you and I have that bond because we played for the same guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's good stuff. So I was going to ask that question. You brought him up. You guys both brought him up. What kind of guy was he, Coach V? I think everybody in Triangle probably had their own experience with him because he got around a lot. I was at IBM. I mean, my first year we won the basketball league at IBM, and he was our guest speaker. And that was in '83, and he's just a real, just obviously personal guy. We talked to him. I talked to him. I said, this guy's just real personal, and of course, it's coming off the heels of the championship. It was, and I guess what we saw outwardly was the way he was behind closed doors, and that's just a question to both of you guys.
I mean, I could take
Well, I was
it
fortunate
first.
enough. I was
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Whit. You go first.
well. I was fortunate enough to play for him and also coach and work with him too. And I seen a different side. And it's one thing
Mm-hmm.
about a player-coach relationship, but when you actually work for him, I think you see him in a different light, and you see how people react to him. And he just had a huge presence and personality that was infectious, that people just drew to him. And I just enjoyed being around him more because as a coach, you spend more time with the head coach and in the meetings and in town and recruiting. And he was just, he was a special guy. And he truly cared about people. And you got to understand, too, that it wasn't easy for Valvano, an Italian from the North, to come down and coach in the South. I think people kind of took that for granted, that a lot of people turned that job down. My high school coach, Morgan Wooten, Gary Williams, several guys turned that job down, and Valvano was like the third or fourth choice. And back then, it wasn't real cool to have this Italian unknown guy coming down to coach NC State. So he didn't come in with a lot of love in the beginning. He had to win people over, and the one way you win people over in sports is that you win, and when he did, and glad he came down here because he just brought a personality, a sparkle that was a little different than the rest of the coaches in the triangle. Obviously, definitely different than what we had at NC State.
Yeah, Chucky.
Yeah, for me, I mean, me coming down here, like I said, when I first met V, it was like an instant connection for me. So like I said, him being from Queens, I moved down from New York City, Harlem, to be exact. And like I could relate to like how he was. So that kind of drew me to him. And then like having a couple of New York guys on the team didn't hurt. Lorenzo Charles and Ernie Myers was on the team. So that didn't hurt. And I just remember, during my time at NC State, there would be times, at night, where, you wanted something to eat, you didn't have any money. And I mean, me and my roommate was Charles Shackford. We'd hop in the car and drive over to B's house until we were hungry. And B would open the door. He might have been shocked, but he never said nothing. But he would open the door and say, "All right, come on in." Then he said to his wife, was Pam. He said, Pam, fix him something to eat. So, we would get something to eat and go on back to our room. And I remember also, I wanted some shoes for the summer.
Right.
So I told V, V, I need some more shoes, you know what I'm saying? So he told me to come over to his house. So I went over to his house and he went downstairs. He had a room downstairs in his house with a bunch of shoes in there. So he gave me some. Me and Thurl Bailey wore the same size shoe. So he gave me some shoes, So, and watching that documentary about the '83 team, the one of the things that stands out most to me is when you hear Terry Gannon talking about him when he went to speak at the ESPYs, and he said how people around the country were just seeing him, and Terry was like, well, this is what we saw every day. And that was what we saw every day. So it was not, the ESPY speech was a big deal around the world, but it was kind of like, that was V to us. That was V. You know what I'm saying? So that was the guy that we saw, and he was very personable. You could go to him and talk to him anytime. Now in practice, he might cuss you out. Now he didn't cuss me out several times, but it wasn't nothing personal. You know what I'm saying? So I knew I deserved it, and I remember the first time that he cursed me out, and I called my father, and I was like, "Yo, man, this man is crazy up here. Saying this, and the other." And then my father was like, "Well, did he put his hands on you?" I said, "Nah." My father hung up the phone, and then I called back. So I called him back. I was like, we lost connection. He was like, "Look, you do whatever that man tell you to do. I'll talk to you later." Bam. So he had the green light.
That wouldn't happen today. That wouldn't happen
No.
That wouldn't happen today.
Look, you gotta, it's like, what happened? Did he yell at you? Did he say some bad words to you? What did he say?
Happened today.
I'm gonna get that bad coach. I'm gonna get that bad coach for yelling at you.
My father did not care. He did not care. He hung up the phone on me. He hung it up.
That's funny.
I was like, yeah.
He know. Look. He know who he was working with. He know
right.
He should have been yelling at your ass. He knew that. He like, yeah, good. I'm glad he was yelling at you.
I was wrong.
He already knew that.
Hey,
exactly.
Chucky, you lucky.
So, hey,
you lucky, because if I would have said that to my dad about somebody yelling at me, he might have smacked me upside my head. And then said, "Do what the coach tell you to do." You got lucky.
Hey, when I said
You
he
got
wasn't close enough to slap me, he might have slapped me. He wasn't close enough to.
Yeah.
He's like, don't be calling my house with all this foolishness. What's wrong with you?
That's right.
So Dereck, so a lot of people, they've seen the documentary, they've seen, what got you the Emmy and what put you there and all the other works that you've done. How did it come about, and what made you say, yeah, man, I could do film, I could do this, this is something I can do. I'm Dereck Whittenburg.
Yeah, as he freezes up.
Oh,
I guess we'll wait for him to come back.
That's the guy we know. That's the guy we know. That's the guy we know.
Wait a minute. Can you hear us, Dereck? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, you back with us? Okay,
You back there?
I'm back. I'm back with you now.
Okay. Did you hear the question came at?
Did you hear the question? I was just trying to. Did you hear the question, Dereck?
Okay. He froze again.
Oh, froze again.
But hey.
There you go.
Okay. We see you.
Yeah,
okay.
I see it, but it's going in and out a little bit.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Can we keep it going?
Yeah, sounds good. So I know Dereck is back. Dereck, I don't know if you're back, but I was just asking, what made you say, hey, I can get into the film industry and start doing a documentary, and this is something that I can actually do. I know doing it, for Coach V is another reason to do it, but just saying I want to put it on film. What made you want to get into this is something I could actually do?
Okay, he's still having problems.
Yeah, he's still having problems.
Hey, K-Man, put that question. Somebody asked a question up. I was with Chucky about who. Yeah, this question: are there any current college basketball coaches that remind you of Coach V?
Are there any current college basketball coaches that remind me of Coach V? That's a good question. Let me think. See, now V was a little different because V was very emotional on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? He was very emotional. And I think that was one thing that he always told us to play with emotion. he had like the 3 E's, he used to call it: emotion, effort, and execution. I believe they were. But I don't like a lot of the college coaches today. They're a little cooler. You know what I'm saying? They got a nice purse that they getting. So I think they're a little cooler.
Right.
And they're not as emotional. I think that the thing about today's game is big to not be so expressive of your emotions. Like
Right.
you get technical fouls for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where if a coach is too busy on the sideline, the referee might hit him with a tee. So I don't see any college coaches, not that come to my mind right now, that remind me of Coach V, just because of that area. And just the emotional part of it. I don't see any coaches. Calipari might. Calipari does.
Chucky, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about Calipari when I answered that question.
Yeah, Calipari might. He does get involved a little emotional, and they do try to tell him to chill out a little bit. Yeah, but Calipari might be the closest, I would say. Calipari.
Yeah. Okay. I think we got
Rolling Massimino.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he's talking about now. He's talking about like right now.
Rolling
right
Massimino is more like V.
Right. Oh, definitely. He was definitely.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think we got Dereck back, K-Mac. So let's try this again.
Oh, you back with us, D? You back with us, Whit? He ain't ready. He must be on the Emmy phone.
The phone they gave at the Emmy.
In the swag bag, they give you all kind of stuff when you go to the Emmys. He went to the Emmys. They gave him a phone.
You got a track phone.
They gave him a phone. He still.
That's not for everyday use. You use that as a backup.
Exactly. He over there on the iPhone 4. iPhone 4.
Okay. All right. Well, we're
Whit, they talking about you. I wouldn't let them talk about you like that, Whit. I wouldn't do that, Whit. I ain't gonna let them talk about you like that.
Oh, wow.
See? That's the best part about this, by it being live. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to be the case.
I know.
So Chucky Brown, a lot of people listening to you, they probably don't realize that you did play for Coach V. They didn't realize that you were a part of that era. Is there anything that stands out to you that you could probably say, you know what? I heard all the hype before I got there. When I got there, this is the one thing that surprised me about about him as a coach, him as a man, him as an individual.
I think probably one thing I when we got to practice, I think that was the one thing that surprised me, how he was so energetic in practice, because some guys, they do it when the camera come around, and they'll be energetic for recruiting purposes. But he was kind of like, I remember him when I was getting recruited. He came to my house, him, Ray Martin, Coach McClain, Tommy Abetamarco, and I remember V moving the furniture around in the house. So I'm like, and my father was kind of crazy, so I was like, looking like, this ain't gonna go too good. You know what I'm saying? So he was just looking, and he let him do his thing where he was moving the furniture around, just showing the like offensive plays or something like that. So the whole time I'm thinking like, yo, this dude is wild. This is where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I want to be with a wild dude. I don't need no calm, corporate cat. I want to be with the wild dude. So, but I think it did surprise me that when we got into practice, the energy and the enthusiasm and the language that was, but yeah, it was, that was probably the thing that surprised me the most.
Okay.
But everything was like, it was as advertised. At least for me, my experience was great. Everything was as advertised. But yeah, just the energy. I think that was a surprise.
Nice.
Yeah. If you join us right now, we got Dereck Whittenburg. I guess he's rebooting this system. He'll be joining us momentarily here. But that's interesting though. It's kind of cool that you and both you and Whit, both of y'all played for Coach V. And both of y'all beat Carolina. Now, to be fair, to beat Carolina, that was a big deal when you was in school, wasn't it, Chucky?
I can tell you this right here. I know when I moved to North Carolina, see, when I left New York, I was a Big East guy. Syracuse,
Right.
St. John's, Georgetown, Villanova, Seton Hall. And when I came down here, I didn't know how big the rivalry was because when I came down here, like I came to NC State basketball camp, I had on like a cutoff property of UNC shirt, and I had on some Duke shorts.
Mm.
So I didn't know,
Nice.
I like the
Nice.
Duke colors. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was wearing the shorts. So I didn't know how big it was, but coming to North Carolina, and like I can remember they would bring a TV in the classroom. The Carolina State game was on.
Oh yeah.
They bring a TV in the classroom, and like if the game was on a Saturday, like nobody was out. Like Carolina State was the big
That was
rivalry.
the rivalry.
That was the rivalry before when NC State went on probation. That's when Duke filled that void. But Carolina State was the big rivalry. So yeah, it was a big deal for us. And another thing, like we saw them guys all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because they had one mall, which was Crabtree Mall. They had one mall, and we used to be in there. Carolina used to be in there, and Duke used to be in there. So now they got South Points for Durham. You go to South Point.
Right.
So
you're right.
We saw the guys all the time. We used to hang out with the dudes from Carolina. A lot of people don't know that, but we used to go over there and hang out with them. They would come over here and hang out with us sometimes too. So we saw them all the time. So yeah, I mean, it was a big deal for us to beat them because we knew them. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't never nothing personal, but you know how when you have your friend, you holler at your friend because you want them bragging rights. So I mean, and that's what it was like, know, for us with that rivalry. But yeah, Carolina was the bigger rivalry than Duke by far. By far.
That's interesting because when I first moved here,
I got a couple of questions. Whitburg,
go ahead, Mac. Go ahead, Mac.
No, I was gonna say I got a couple questions. Guy wants to find out any advice for young athletes during the quarantine, which I'm sure you got plenty of it, and I think Whit's going to be joining us in just a second. But any athletes checking for guys that's in quarantine that I guess they've been lulled to sleep by just hanging around doing nothing.
Right. Well, I mean, there should never be a time. I mean, like this whole like COVID thing, it's also a opportunity. So you can also use this as an opportunity to work on your conditioning. You can get out there, run a mile, time yourself in the mile. I try to tell my players to get out and, don't just run around the block. Or, I asked one of my players, he's talking about he's been doing some walking. I'm like, walking? Like, dude, when we start up, you better be running. You know what I'm saying? So time yourself in the mile every other day. There's things that you can do, get some, you can do like, wall squats in your room. You could do just like body mass stuff, push-ups. You can do pull-ups. But I would say, don't just sit around and not do nothing. Ride a bike. Get out, ride your bike for 15 minutes. There's things that you can do. If you go to the park, go to a park by yourself. You can find a hoop and just work on your game on the outside. Get you an indoor-outdoor ball and go work on your game outside. I have my daughter shooting with a rubber ball. She's not gonna shoot with a rubber ball when she's playing, but we go out there and shoot around. It's a rubber ball that she's shooting with. But I tell you that when you get inside, you're gonna be even better because that ball gonna feel so good in your hands. You're gonna be even better.
There you go. All right, we got Whit back with us, man.
I'm back.
Go ahead, Matt.
I'm back.
Going on,
Whit? Back. And Chucky, you're right. But I'm going to add something to this, Chucky. See, today's kids are going to be doing their things. So they're creative in their workouts, but they're going to be on Instagram, and they're going to be doing, and they're going to be playing video games. I think this is the time to really educate your mind.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to learn out there, a lot of podcasts to be on. There's a lot of things you can learn. You have to learn how it's going to be a different way of learning. Everything's online now. There's a lot of Zoom meetings. So I think this is an opportunity to learn a different way. And I think this is opportunity for guys to look at film work and educate themselves in that manner too. So, I mean, this is an opportunity to grow mentally as well as physically.
Right.
And
I agree.
You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's
true. And one thing that our young people don't do if what all this social unrest is taught them and taught all of us, America don't know their history. We are still learning our history.
That's right.
So adults are learning their history. There's young people continuing to learn, and now you have more access to information even on your phone and with a computer. So there's no excuse for you to really gain a lot of knowledge mentally and going forward, learning a lot of different things right now because you got the time. And it's also a time to connect with people. Right.
Yeah.
Right now. I'm out there. I had a wonderful conversation with Daryl Hill, and all of you don't even know who Daryl Hill is.
I
Daryl
do.
Hill is the first African American athlete that played in the ACC.
Mm.
Was a football player at Maryland that came to Maryland in 1963.
Wow.
I talked to that man for hours. I read up on him. I learned so much information about somebody before me, and I wanted to thank him because if not for Daryl Hill, maybe it's not the Chucky Browns, maybe it's not
Right.
the Dereck Whittenbergs, and
Right.
so on. It may not be a whole lot of players, African American players, playing in the league, but he was the one that got it started for everybody else. So I'm talking to CEOs and presidents of companies and talking to alumni about all kinds of different subjects. And this is an opportunity to connect with people.
Yeah.
I think you'd learn more from people. You can read all the books you want, but it's no better knowledge than learning from somebody who's had real life experiences.
Wow.
And you want to surround yourself, guys, with the smartest and the best and most experienced people you can find. And so I've enjoyed that as well as getting out. And I hope the kids take advantage of connecting with people and connecting with more knowledge and learning your history. I think this is a great opportunity to do that.
Oh man.
Yeah, you saying that also brings me back to like what Sam Perkins said about John Lewis, how how we had so much there that we could have learned more from him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That with saying that just now brought me back to that conversation.
Right. Well, it's funny you brought up
Absolutely.
Sam Perkins' name because and Whit because wasn't Sam said Whit was the one that's taught more junk than anybody else in the entire world.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody.
I think that's what Sam said. He said, Whit, yeah, I said, you talk more junk. I think K-Mac may answer that question. He said, Dereck Whittenburg. Talk more junk than anybody ever.
Big Sam,
Hey.
big smooth, big smooth, big Sam.
Hey, but I'm telling you a story about Whit that I don't know if I told Whit this or not, but when I was playing in New Jersey, Rick Carlisle was an assistant coach. So Rick knew I went to NC State, of course, and he asked me, how's Dereck Whittenburg doing? So I was like, yeah, he's doing good, So he then went to tell me the story of how, like, I guess, like, back in the day when they used to introduce the starting lineups, like, they would introduce, like, Othell Wilson, then the guy you were guarding, like, Dereck Whittenburg. So you come out and slap him 5. So they said that Whit used to slap the heck out of your forearms. Instead of slapping your hands, he would come out and slap your forearms. Rick Carlisle told me that story. Now, is that true, Whit? Is that true?
That's a true story. I am the one that stopped the ACC from doing that. They said, this guy's going to kill somebody.
Well, that's classic.
I wanted to slap their hand. I wanted to slap their hand and let them know this is how it's going to be tonight. Okay, guys? Look, we're not friends now. This is how it's going to be tonight now.
Well, that's classic right there. Oh, man. K-Mac, go ahead, man. That's funny.
With you the king of trash talk. I got to give it to you, bro. That's you the king of trash talk. Just listening to you talk about this, talk about what people should be doing right now and how people should be doing things. You very accomplished off the court, and you've done so many things. Talk about your foundation. You want to give back, and then being involved in young people's lives and the impact and what people can do and how important it is to be involved right now. Because Chucky's doing things, you're doing things. Just talk about that real briefly.
Well, I think that we all have, in coming up in our journeys, somebody has always helped us, whether it's our parents, our coach, community friends, somebody has helped us in our journey. And I was fortunate enough to coach for a long time and now come back and be administrator. And to me, coming back to NC State is a calling. It's not a job for me. I love being back in my alma mater. I love being back in the state of North Carolina, where I've had so many wonderful experiences. So I'm coming back to pay it forward. And paying it forward is really lending yourself, right? The knowledge and experience to young people to help them succeed. See, it's not about us anymore. It's about Chucky's daughters. It's about young people really getting that positive experience and really being as they want to be. Listen, sports is just a small part of what we do, but not who we are. We are intelligent. We graduated. We are educated. So yes, basketball was important, but now we can do other. So I want to let our student athletes know the community important that enjoy your own journey and be confident in who you are, and you can be and really encourage people to believe in themselves and believe in their own journey. Don't measure yourself by somebody else. If you and go for it. Don't forget believe in yourself, believe in your stick with your goals and your visions, and anybody can accomplish anything. And that's what I try to reiterate and instill in all the young people in our Foundation.
Exactly.
Our wife and I, we also give money and raise money for.
Yeah.
All of us, all the students that we.
Yeah, we that's the part I really wanted to hear. He chopped it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, we're going to tell Whit to go to Starbucks next time. He's going to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, the latter part that we missed, but I definitely want to make sure. Yeah, your foundation has been awesome. Of course, Jacqueline, a big part of that as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ooh, he dropped off. So, okay. But yeah, it was good. I wanted to get his input on the. I wanted to get him in, get him to talk about his foundation, talk about that real quickly, and just talk about, what those guys are doing and some of the great things he's doing. So, because I commend him for being able to do what he's doing, and wanted to say, it's like you said, it's time for us to step up and be that beacon of light in a lot of young people's lives. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, but him and Jacqueline, they do a great job with that. They send a lot of people to school. With scholarships, 4-year schools as well as 2-year schools. They do a great job with that. So they kind of leading the pack in there. They're really making an impact. So I know that's one some Dereck and Jacqueline definitely wanted to do. Can you hear us at all, Whit? You're still working on it. Okay.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Carolina guy out there messing with my mic.
It's probably Phil Ford.
Some guy from Carolina messing with my mic. Trying to mess me up here,
You got a Carolina telecom mic. Where you get that mic from?
I'm trying to cut me off.
Okay.
Yeah, You got to be careful with.
It's all good. It's all good. It's just great content. We got a gist of that, and it came back. All of we talked about. I mean, we're very familiar with the work you and Jacqueline doing with your foundation. How many young people you guys impact? The only thing we can say is keep on doing it, man. That's very important. Yeah, that's all we can say. All right, guys. More questions. I know we got a couple more here. Chucky, Matt.
Yeah, I thought that the key thing one of the key things that he said was, like it's no longer about us. You know what I'm saying? And that's that was my whole thing with doing the high school thing. It ain't no longer about me. It's about me helping somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So, that next person can maybe get some advice coming up that I never got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's about and I think you go through phases in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, my 20s and 30s, it was all about me. It ain't nobody else but me. You know what I'm saying? So you had that time.
Hey,
where
ain't nothing wrong with that sometimes, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Wrong thing about yourself. But then as you get older, and I mean, you don't want to think about this, but like, at 52, you think about it, I'm probably got about 30 years left. So how am I going to leave this place? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to leave? What type of and you think about that. You don't want to think about that, but you think about that.
We all think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
when you get
20,
older,
30 years, you're like, that's a lot closer than it used to be.
It's a lot closer than you think. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm 52 now, and I can remember when I was 16, 17 walking on campus. So, time goes by. So how am I going to leave this place? I think about that a lot more than I used to. So I think that's a part. I guess what Muhammad Ali said. If you think like if a man thinks the same way at 20 as he does at 50, then he's wasted 30 years of his life.
Ooh.
So I haven't wasted those 30 years of my life.
Absolutely.
Wow, man.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Hey, Chucky, there's a quick question here. Somebody wanted to ask, what was it like making the transition so many times? Clearly you had a skill set that was in demand, but because I think you've answered this on a couple of before with a couple of other guys we've had on, but
between so many teams.
No, go ahead, Reese.
Okay.
It said what was like.
Right,
I always want to ask that question, but between so many teams, because you remember exactly what year you was on this team, who you played with, and when you in the double digits, that's kind of hard to keep up with. Seriously,
right?
How'd you do that?
Right.
I thought once I figured out it was a job. Once I figured out it was a job, it was like, I'll play anywhere. I don't care. I can't make this money out here doing nothing else. So let me just, I just go. And the formula I learned from Larry Nance, another older guy, is you come early, stay late, and keep your mouth shut. So I think I did that, and it was the transition wasn't hard. Like I said, I moved from New York City to a small town in North Carolina called Nebraska. So it wasn't hard for me to transition from going from Milwaukee to LA. You know what I'm saying? Or Cleveland to Chicago. It wasn't hard for me to adjust at all.
To get acclimated. Yeah,
it was easy because it was a job, and I knew I wasn't. And plus, you're getting paid enough to where you should be able to withstand, some of the stuff that goes on. It ain't that big of a deal, so you get paid. So it was easy. It wasn't hard at all.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Whittenburg, we got you back. Can you hear us, Whit? Okay. All right. We coming down the stretch anyway. I really want to get some final comments from him regarding. We might have to do another version with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to do another version of him because I really want to get. I want to get into some of that.
I would say it would be a Wolfpack issue, but Chucky hadn't had any problems last 14, 16 weeks. So I mean, I can't say it's a Wolfpack issue.
One problem at one time. That one time.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. See, and you didn't share it with your Wolfpack friends. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell you. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I need to work on you Wolfpackers. Y'all need to do better now. Y'all got to do better.
Yeah, West thing is strong. Yeah, it's gone.
Okay. Well, we come.
Look, this is how I know Witt stuff is completely going out. because he didn't even respond. And I know that would take a lot for him not to respond. That would take a lot. That'd take an act of Congress for him not to respond, without a doubt.
Never quiet.
So Chucky,
well, Chucky, real quickly, man, since I got you on the phone, Chucky.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead, Mac.
No, I'm gonna say, Chucky, since I got you on the phone, real quickly, what do you think about the return of the NBA so far? What do you think about what you've been watching? What do you think?
I think they've done a good job. I really didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
I think that the crowd, the crowd noise, and I think that's a good addition to it. I think probably the commentators could speak up a little more because sometimes the crowd noise drowns them out. So I'm saying, but I think it's a good. I think they've done a good job with the presentation because of like a lot of those places when they're playing. I can't figure out where they're at, and I've been in all those facilities. So I'm like, where are they at? So I can't figure out. So I think they've done a really good job with what they're doing. And I've heard that it's like $1 million a day for how they're doing it. What they're doing, but it's worth it. The NBA is $1 billion industry. But I think I've been real pleased and real happy with what they've done and how they've done. I think they've done a really good job. I'm really surprised. I don't know what I was expecting, but I think they've really done a good job.
Sounds good. So I think we're gonna try one more time, Reese. You got to be. I'll let you talk to him, Reese. I'll let you talk to him because every time I talk to him, he hang up the phone on me.
So Dereck, we got Dereck Whittenburg back. We can close this thing out. One of the things we wanted to know, and of course, you talked a little bit about it, but I want to get that last part of the conversation about what do you feel your purpose, you personally, what your purpose is in your life right now? Okay.
Put him on the spotlight.
Maybe one of your purposes is get the internet up and running, right? Wow. All right. Wait, can you hear us?
Hey, look. Okay. What's the name of this? What's the name of this storm? Isa. What's the name?
It's
of this
kind of hard to announce. Isa.
I don't know the name of the storm.
Isa.
Yeah, that's the one.
One of them.
That's the one because I sure don't know the name of it. Look, maybe the
that's
storm got it.
Wrong.
I don't know. Maybe the storm got it.
I call it Isa, but we're gonna get Whit back going, man. But definitely, if you want to follow up with Whitten Foundation, you can do that by emailing them at education@dwfoundation.org. Trust me, we are very much aware of what they do. And I love how they interface with 4-year schools as well as 2-year universities, particularly a lot of, if you will, community colleges, which I think is a fantastic pathway to education. So again, Jacqueline and definitely Dereck, they are on top of their game. So always, if you want more information about the Whittenburg Foundation, education@dwfoundation.org. You can hit them up on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, Twitter, and all across the board. So as you can tell, the lady that runs the show, she puts it out there. She knows what's going on, Mac. Right there.
Look, she's still cracking the whip. She's still cracking the whip. Don't you worry.
They're good partners of ours. We try to lend our time and treasure to all the stuff they're doing. So we appreciate all the stuff they're doing. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, it's 8 o'clock. We're gonna do our best to maybe get Dereck on a later date. And but Chucky's working on some people. Chucky, who you working on, man, on the upcoming weeks? Who you got, man?
Working on my man, Master P. I'm trying to get P. I reached out to my man. Well, these are on the low, but now I'll bring it out.
Okay.
So, Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane. That'd be a good one.
Because he lives in the area. I reached out to Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent. I reached out to him as well.
Right.
I thought he would be a good one. I got some phone numbers for Dawn Staley, who I know, and Lisa Leslie, trying to work on them as well.
We got Carol Lawson. Carol's going to be on tonight. That's the reason she couldn't come on because the kids were coming back to campus tonight. So she had a team meeting tonight. That's the reason she's not on. But of course, we got Dereck, which was a great feeling. But Yeah, we got a lot going. We got some other people, so we're gonna do this, man. Keep it going. So,
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
we're always locked in.
Keep it going, brother.
Get back. No, maybe we should get somebody from. I saw you posted Last Chance You. Maybe get somebody on here to talk about that from that school.
Oh. Okay.
You know,
Okay. I mean, okay. Let's hey, Last Chance You, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. Cause look, people they fell in love with Last Chance You. You know, everyone knows the story. You know how these kids, go there. This is their last chance to make it big. So it's always fun. Reese knows I know firsthand about. Yeah. Reese knows I know firsthand about those kids that came out of East Mississippi Junior College, and there's some pretty good kids come out of there. So it's good stuff.
All right, okay, guys. I know we are.
Somebody said Chastity Melvin. Somebody recommended Chastity Melvin, so we can work on that too.
Yes, sir.
We can work on that too.
Who's a friend of the show? We look at Chastity's with the Phoenix team. She's with Phoenix. WNBA team. All right, we're gonna bounce out, guys, and I appreciate Chuck as always, man. K-Mac, we get it going. And by the way, if you're not busy at 7 a.m. in the morning,
you
can holler at us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Sports Shop Reach the K-Mac, 7
a.m.
Go. Radio. Let's try one more time. Whit. He gone.
Be good.
All right, man. We'll see you, man.
All right.
Take care. We'll see you. Bye.
All right.